first let me say how good it is to see such a great crowd. So thank y'all for coming. Our first item is our invocation, and I'd ask you all to stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for all these wonderful people here to celebrate the accomplishments of our students here in Anderson 1. We thank you for your blessings on this district, and we ask that you be with us in our meeting and guide and direct our decisions. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Item number 4 is oath of office for our new board members. We would like to welcome Greg Hayden.
Thank
you. Okay, Dr. Young.
So last Monday night, the county board appointed Mr. Hayden to our board to replace Ms. Cox. So if you'll stand, raise your right hand. Second time I've done this, so we'll see if we can do this. Just repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of the office
to exercise the duties of this office
to which I have been elected,
to which I've been elected,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of this state of the United States.
the Constitution of this state and the United States.
I swear that I am under no promise,
I swear that I am under no promise,
in honor or law,
in honor or law,
to share the profits of the office
to share the profits of the office
to which I have been elected,
to which I've been elected,
and that I will not,
and that I will not,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
sell or dispose of said office,
sell or dispose of said office,
or the profits thereof,
or the profits thereof,
but will resign
but will resign
or continue to discharge
or continue to discharge
the duties thereof during the period fixed by law. I went too many. The duties thereof
have the duties thereof
during the period fixed by law.
during the period fixed by law.
So help me God.
All right, so help me God.
And we give you a big welcome, so thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
All right. Item number 5 is approval of our agenda tonight. Do I have a motion that we accept tonight's agenda?
I so move we accept the
Ms.
agenda.
Ellison, the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Hood, all those in favor, show it by the uplifted hand. And it is unanimous. Our next item is item number 6, minutes of our March 25th meeting. Do we have any additions or corrections to be made at this time? Hearing none, I'll need a motion to accept these minutes.
So moved.
Mr. Wilson, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Ellison, all those in favor, please show it by the uplifted hand. Okay, item number 7, Dr. Young, is recognitions.
It's Upton, as you can see, we got a full house tonight, and they're lined up in the hall. But one of the reasons we have so many folks here is Ms. Hearn and Ms. Braden Wilson and our teacher forum organized teacher signing day for our high school seniors that have committed to be teachers, or they're going to major in education when they go to college in the fall. So I think we ended up with 24. 20 signatures of different different students that are going to major in education this fall that are graduating from one of our 3 high schools. So I think if you're one of those seniors that came up, we're going to bring the group up, and Miss Upton and Miss Wilson and Carol. If y'all want to join us, and Miss Hearn, we'll have a you organize it. You're in the picture. Yeah, you need to get a picture.
Squeeze everybody around.
One day.
No, you did. You did.
I think we're going to make 2 rows. Yes, absolutely.
Squeeze in on this end if you can.
Taking a picture.
State teacher review.
All right, I know that it is really exciting to be at a board meeting, but you guys that just signed it, y'all want to head to your dinner plans, feel free to sneak out. I do want you to know I'm going over the budget a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, next in this update, we've got several student groups that we're going to recognize that have achieved some wonderful things. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Wilson so we can recognize those students.
Slide in behind me over here. Sorry. We're going to recognize some individual students, but we're going to start with recognition. The National Beta Club, I'm going to read this just so y'all can hear what they want. Powdersville High School National Honor Society, Beta Honor Society, was named the National Beta John W. Harris Leadership Award winner. These are some of our students with other reasons. So, one of only 5 high schools in the entire country. It is a very coveted award, and I'm going to ask Ms. Upton and Dr. Young to come up, and we're going to present you guys with this. First of all, tell us who you are and what year you are.
Well, I'm Audrina, and I am a senior. Hello, I'm Kendall Bocchino, and I am a sophomore.
All right, I'm going to let you, this is what you guys, you can hang your banner just like we hang championship banners, and we'll give that to you guys, and we'll get y'all's picture. Congratulations. Thank you. Y'all want to stay up?
Yes, absolutely.
Y'all just stay up and Miss Upton, you'll just stay up here and we'll recognize some students, special students. We also have, we recognized All-State Chorus. We've got All-State Band and All-State Orchestra. These are the best of the best. Start with Sophia Anderson, I think, is young here. He's going to come accept for her, Sophia. So you can hold that and you don't have to put her in your neck. Her band, her actual band picture, if you'll come over here. Let's get a picture. That's All-State Band. That was our All-State Band. Thank you. And we had 2 All-State Orchestra from Powdersville High School, Normandy Tripp. Thank you. Congratulations. Please stand up here with us. And Stella Cochran. Congratulations. They were All-State Orchestra folks. Do we have their teachers here by any chance? come up here. I'll get a picture with you. Ms. Raffini and Mary Beth Carpenter are our teachers. I want to make sure they get a shot. We get a picture with them too. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
All right, next Miss Upson, we've got some folks on the front row that we would like to introduce themselves. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Brady so she can tell us who else we have joining us tonight.
Okay, as y'all can see, we've been very busy. But we are so excited to welcome a group of very special people with us tonight. These are our new teachers. But before we do that, I want to introduce our new recommended assistant principal at Spearman Elementary, Miss Liz Whittabort. Okay, we'll begin with Miss Caroline Morris.
Hello everyone, my name is Caroline Morris. I'm from Pickens. I will be teaching at Palmetto High School, and I'll be teaching English and yearbook. And I graduated from Anderson University as well.
Alright, so my name is Darcy Holcomb. I grew up here, went to Palmetto, now go to Lander University, and my placement was a self-contained class at Wren Middle School. And I'm accepting an open contract, but also I'm accepting the contract with Resource for Wren Middle.
Yes.
My name is Hannah Kate Blunt. I am moving here from North Carolina, and I graduated from Clemson in 2017 with my bachelor's in elementary education, and then I graduated from ECU with my master's in administration in 2021, and I will be at Powdersville Elementary teaching center.
Tell them your tie to Anderson.
And I moved back to Anderson. My grandfather is Reggie Christopher.
And D is your father.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
I taught him.
Oh, what?
Years.
I'm so sorry. What did you teach?
He had chorus, but he could sing.
Yes, that's true.
Hey, good evening. Thank you guys for having me tonight. My name is Jordan Miller. I'll be teaching physical education at Wren High School and Wren Middle School as well, so I'm very excited for that. Thank you.
My name's Jonathan Williman. I grew up right down the road, went to Wren High School. Then I went to South Carolina, got my bachelor's in English, and I'll be teaching at Palmetto High School.
Hey, I'm Jesus Zavala. I am a teacher resident from Clemson this year. Just finished up that program, and I'll be teaching at Palmetto High School in the Freshman Academy. So, yeah.
Hello everyone, it's so nice to meet y'all. My name is Rebecca Diane Cook, and I am currently the art teacher at Anderson Christian School. I teach elementary, middle school, and high school art there. And I have had the privilege of being recommended to be the art teacher at Wren Middle School.
Everybody, my name is Catherine Crow. I am currently at RC Edwards in Pickens, and I have the complete honor of being the new school counselor at Palmetto Middle School.
I also want to take just a moment to introduce or have someone very special introduce themselves. Several years ago, our state allotted or appropriated some funds, and Clemson University applied for a grant. The program is called Grow Your Own. And what it is they take folks that have a 4-year degree, maybe in a non-educational field, such as maybe business or history, and they pay, our state pays for their master's, and our part is that we provide them a teaching position, instructional assistant type teaching position. So I am very excited that we have our first Grow Your Own graduate, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bryan.
Hi y'all, I'm Gavin Bryan. I graduated from USC with a bachelor's in history. Now I'm currently pursuing my master's through the Grow Your Own program at Clemson, and I'll be teaching at Palmetto High School this coming school year.
I want to make sure I've not missed anyone.
And I was
I'm
on,
sorry.
I was on last month's agenda, but I'm the new school psychologist for Anderson One. I just came from Pickens County.
I want to say a special thank you to all of our administrators who work so hard to hire these wonderful teachers and employees, and especially to Ms. Brooks, who works tirelessly.
Before you say what you're about to say, I'm gonna hit pause and I'm gonna pull up something on the screen that Ms. Brady, why don't you come on up here with me too? So normally Ms. Upton would be saying we want to officially welcome you to the best district in the state. She's gonna have to just say that in just a second. Well, maybe. All right, there we go. So, come on up here. So this happens at every one of our board meetings. We always have a moment at the beginning of the board meeting where we have new teachers that we celebrate with you all. What we did last week, we had our end of the year Andy celebration for our first year teachers, and we're getting to the end of the year for our induction teachers that we all take care of. But what you may not know, and Ms. Brady's going to jump in here in just a second, is that yes, we're blessed, and you know how wonderful and how tirelessly Carol works to make sure that we have the best and brightest teachers in Anderson One, and she takes care of them. She's like a second mother to the teachers that we have in Anderson One. But she's been invited to state conferences. She gets invited to places all across the state of South Carolina because people want to know, hey, what is Anderson One doing that's so different to take care of their first year teachers? And that's because of the relationship she builds. It's because of the way she cares for and supports, and it's the way that she finds the best and brightest. The signing day, she's like, my son was one of the people that was up here. He's got a Rice Krispie treat with her email address on it that she said, you email me in 4 years whenever you finish up. Like, she's already making connections with seniors in high school to make sure we get the best. So we felt it was appropriate to just take a moment and just thank Carol for all the hard work she does. So I know Ms. Brady is going to say that way better than I just did. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Brady.
Well, first of all, don't ever try to surprise Carol.
Yes, I want
I want to recognize Carol's family for being here this evening. Her husband Chuck, her daughter Martin, her son-in-law Blake, and her two beautiful little granddaughters. Thank y'all so much for coming. I also would like to recognize Dr. Laura Eicher, who works closely with Carol at Clemson University, along with Ms. Anna Hyman, one of our teachers that Ms. Brooks nurtured and mentored several years ago. And I want to recognize Mr. Jason McCauley, who really just gives her a place and puts up with her and loads her stuff off and everything. So all of these folks, Ms. Brooks is a very special person. I'm going to try my best to capture what we as a school district think of her. So Carol, we are here tonight to celebrate you. When I think about Carol, the first word that comes to my mind is cheerleader. Many of you may not know, but Carol spent many years of her career in Anderson One as the Palmetto High School cheerleader coach, and she is certainly our Anderson District 1 cheerleader. Carol cheers for our induction teachers and all teachers, not just from the sidelines, but in the thick of the game. She's there for the late night practices and the early morning drills. Carol picks them up after they've been tackled by some difficult and complex situations. She cheers loudly, exclaiming how wonderful they are when they win, and is there to listen with care when sometimes they feel like they've lost the game. Carol is Anderson School District 1's greatest cheerleader. She cheers all of us and is ready with a smile, her bubbly personality, and her amazing ability to create a team wherever she goes. The second thing I want to say about Carol is she always wants to take a picture. Always. She captures and celebrates Anderson One and its people. Carol, on behalf of Anderson One and all of us, thanks for celebrating and capturing our moments and our hearts. And this is by one of your former induction teachers. It's a beautiful picture on a camera and a pom-pom and a megaphone. So Carol, thank you for being our cheerleader.
It is hard to surprise me.
You can imagine.
Literally somewhere tonight, you're like, just stay there.
Because she kept wandering around, and I was like, go, go. I want to thank Ms. Tolson for helping.
She wouldn't stay. I got a good picture with your grandson the other day in Red High School. I think I need to share it with you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I will say, people ask me all the time, why is it so easy to be the cheerleader? It's easy to sell when you have the best to sell, and you believe in it. So I do believe in it, so it's easy to sell. So thank you for inviting my family. Thank you very much. I love this job, so thank you very much. My poor crying grandbabies. Now we can.
Miss up fast to welcome
I know, that's what I
Let me be the first, on behalf of our Anderson County District 1 School Board, to welcome you to the best district in the state of South Carolina. We would love for you to stay, but I know you have other things to do, so you're free to go at this time. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sir. Get that away from me. How are you? Yeah, doing good. Thanks for coming. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Listen, I thought it was Brad. I was going to take Brad's off. He's going to take care of it.
I'm glad you two were on time. Because our calendars were wrong. How did it in my calendar? 6:30.
See you, sir.
I take all of them. Yeah.
We had a few more of our Beta Club folks show up, so we're going to get a picture. If Miss Upton, if you'll come up, get a picture with the rest of our folks. Y'all come get around. There you go. Our Beta Club sponsor. Thank y'all. Congratulations again. Great job.
Just take it and give it to you. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Robin, are you going to? You're in all my emails. Hey, nice to meet you.
Proud of you. All right.
Bye, guys.
See you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Young, you ready to move on with the, or you got some more recommendations? Or with the financial report?
Yep, fine. We'll go ahead and do the financial report. In your notebooks, you've got the local accounts for each one of our schools. I know Mr. Wilson mentioned Concrete's carnival on Friday night. I know if you look Concrete, they, as you know, we'll talk more about this in the building program update, but they had a great night at the carnival, and they do have quite a balance. But part of that plan is to make sure that they have enough money on hand to update some furniture and things like that as we wrap up some things this summer. So they do have a plan to spend quite a bit of that money. If you turn to the blue papers, you'll see that we've got 47 CDs with a total investment of a little over $10.67 million that accrued a little over $286,000 in interest. And then our food service accounts, we have $396,000 invested. They accrued a little over $4,300 in interest over the last month. On the next page, you see the different investment accounts, and then on the following page is back up the first 3 pages, pages 1 through 3. Then the next page is back up to page 4, then back up to page 5, and then the final blue paper you see back up to page 6. Next is account 502 for the building program. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Thomas.
Thank you, Dr. Young. If everybody would turn to their 2022 building program subfund 502. It shows our total building program revenue at a little over $35 million. You can see the expenses below that totaling $28.7 million, and that brings our current building program balance to $7,968,000. Below that, you can see the projects ongoing as well as the completed projects listed at the bottom of the page. All right, our next report is our local option sales tax, subfund 515. And this is the one we kind of always wait on. This one reflects the December collections, which is typically our biggest month, and it was again this time, and it was actually the biggest allocation we've ever received since we've been getting the local option sales tax. So Anderson, this shows Anderson's total for the month of $4,134,000, and out of that, Anderson 1 receives a percentage of a little over 33.5%, which generated revenue of $1,401,000. 20% of that goes to property tax relief, which totaled $280,000, and the remaining 80% is for capital use, a little over $1.1 million. The section below that shows the fund balance, beginning of the month of $20.4 million, plus revenue and interest less expenses for the month brings the balance as of the end of March to $21.4 million in our local option sales tax. All right, the following report is our revenue report for school board and general fund. And at the bottom, you can see the totals for both the month and the year. Revenue received in March totals $7.6 million. And total revenue received year to date, $88.3 million, and that puts us at 77% of budget. And last and finally, our final report, expenditure report for school board. It's a 2-page report with the second page having the totals there. Expenses incurred in the month of March total $9.1 million, and then total expenses year to date $81.6 million, which puts us at 72% of budget on the expense side. Feel like we're in really good shape. Revenues are coming in strong. Just trying to keep the expenses in budget, and as y'all remember, we've got some fund balance allocated to the budget, but our goal is always, even though we use that to balance budget, we're hoping we don't have to use it or use less than what we allocate is always our goal. So we're trying to make that happen. And that's all I have unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Okay,
while we're talking budget, Travis and I are going to go over the preliminary presentation for next year's operating budget. So I'm going to, Miss Brady got her people to use fancy Canva instead of PowerPoint or Google Slides. So I got to figure out how to get back to Google Slides.
I'll tell them Google Slides next time.
Yeah. All right, so we always start with our mission statement because we want to make sure that we always remember what all this is and what our purpose is. And it's just committed to our tradition of excellence to provide world-class knowledge, skills, and life characteristics based on the individual needs of each student. And so as we talk about our operating budget, that's what we're trying to do, is make sure that we have the resources available to have the right number of teachers and the other resources that we need to meet the needs of our students. I want to just make sure that we're all on the same page, that we spent some time talking about our capital, our construction project. This is very different than the capital projects and the construction budget that we talked about. This is our operating budget. So this is different streams of money, and we'll kind of get into that here in just a minute. So I'm going to turn it over to Travis, and he's going to talk to us about revenues and how that works.
All right, our revenue changes for the year. We'll start out, I know you've all heard us talk about consumer price index and growth. Unfortunately, this is one of the very few substantial ways that we can increase revenue. And I'll just go over the law, South Carolina Code 6-1-320 from Act 388. It says includes a combination of consumer price index and population growth to allow growing districts to meet operating costs. So back, I did the math, roughly 17, 18 years ago, Act 388 was passed. And what that did is it replaced the old way that we collected local, a large portion of our local revenue was owner-occupied taxes on homes. 17, 18 years ago, Act 388 was passed, and what that did is it replaced that tax with a penny sales tax. It was a replacement tax at the time, and it was pretty even, dollar for dollar at the time. However, now you fast forward 17, 18 years, and now if you compare the two methods, the old method versus the penny that we get today, it costs Anderson One about $13 million. We get $13 million less than the new method versus the old method. So you can imagine the strain that kind of puts on our budget. And unfortunately, local school boards, that puts pressure on you guys to potentially make that tough decision if we need to raise taxes there. So fast forward to this year, kind of where we stand. Our CPI growth was 5.9%. When you do the math on that, that would allow us to raise millage if we wanted to or could, 9.8 mils. That's to offset the inflation and growth. However, Anderson County caps us at 8 mils. And if we decided to do that, that would increase our millage. Our existing millage is 166. Go up 8 to 174. And that would generate an additional 1.3 million. And I think we've kind of gone over some of the reasons, why sometimes we have to make that tough choice. But that's just kind of an option that just really to kind of remind everybody of that. Is there any questions on that?
Travis, can you, for the listening audience, could you review the best you can why we're so poorly funded, historically speaking, as one of the lowest funded school districts in the state? And I know it has to do with where we were in 2006 when Act 388 was passed.
Yes, when it happened, we were a growing district, and the way we managed that is just through our regular growth. So we would get growth, and our assessed value would go up, and then we would just use that revenue that it generated a lot of times, or most times, without raising millage, and just use that to keep going and combat our growth with just our growth, because we're a bedroom community. Unlike the other Anderson districts, we're about 50%, or probably a little more than 50%, 4%. 4% properties versus 6% properties. The next closest is probably Anderson 2, and they're probably 5 or 6% difference than us. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you do the math on it, it becomes, in our
We have a lot of houses versus business.
millions of dollars.
Versus rental properties.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway, So what happened is we didn't raise, we kept our millage low during that time. Then when Act 388 was passed, the replacement dollar was set. We had low millage, so we got low dollars, or I guess compared to some others. Then 17, 18 years goes by, and the penny has not kept up, and as you can see, we're 13 million behind. I'm not sure.
I know.
Where others
on my presentation last year, two numbers that stuck out with me, and they're probably still the same. If we have the same millage as the state average, it would be $13 more million. It's the state average, right?
And I have not done that lately, and it's hard to get that.
And I know Anderson
average,
4,
but I know
if we had Anderson 4, we'd have $40 million more dollars.
Yes,
And
we're
that's
going
just
to go over a
miles
little
down
bit,
the street.
a little bit of that in a
And
different
we can't even
way.
think about it, right?
That's right. We're very, very limited. We can do a little bit, but again, in some cases, we get 1.3 million, but you know that sometimes doesn't.
Yeah, fast growing district, right?
Offset some of the growth. So let me get to this. Another question that kind of comes up, and I know y'all probably get it too, is questions on the tax list. And I think sometimes this gets very confusing for somebody who doesn't look at it a lot. This comes from the county, and this is actually someone in our school district. You can see they have a value approaching about $500,000 value on this home. So you can see all of the tax levies are set, and then the amount it assigns to that. When you come all the way down, it's $6,200. Now within that, here's the school district section. And it has both the operating side, which is at 166 meals. I don't know if you can see that, but on your sheets in front of you, you might can see it a little better. Then there's also the school debt at 35 meals. And you can see that puts the base tax at $4,400. However, you come over here, and because of Act 388, there's a tax credit put back applied there that takes all of the operation taxes off. And the only thing that's left on the school side is the bond debt, which in this case is $642. So you can see how it reflects the total bill. Even though it's $6,200, the total bill over here is $2,600. School district portion is only $642, just the bond debt.
So the state, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
So the state doesn't give us what they take off. That's the $13 million short?
The penny does not replace it dollar for dollar, unfortunately for us.
It's winners and losers in the 72 school
And
districts.
this kind of blows up that school district
Some
section.
come out of gangbusters. We don't.
And this kind of blows up the school section here, where you can see 166 meals. The base tax on that is a little over 3,000. However, you can see it credited off here, so the amount due nothing for the operations.
We felt like it was important for you all to see this because we frequently get questions about, well, I pay all this on school tax because they see this on their tax bill. And we wanted to make sure that it was clear that, yes, it does say that's your base tax for the school district operating costs. But if you go over to the far right side, I don't think a lot of people understand there's a credit there. So for instance, this homeowner, it looks like they're going to spend $4,400 in base tax when really they're only spending $642. And I would also add, keep in mind what Travis said at the very beginning of the value of this house is approaching $500,000. So this is the vast majority are not paying anywhere near $642 on their school taxes. That number is probably going to be cut in half for most of our homeowners in Andersonville.
We've got a couple of pie charts here that will.
But that's just the tax value of that house, it's not the appraised value or whatever.
Okay, this is a little pie chart that kind of shows. The old way, you can see the school portion was a huge amount of this base tax. However, once those credits are applied, you can see the school part is cut way down. The red represents the
we just wanted y'all to have that, just in case you get questions sometimes. I know it gets confusing, especially for somebody that doesn't look at this on a daily, weekly basis.
Yeah, I think personally, I'm all in favor of the usage tax compared to a property assessment tax. But the challenge we have in the state of South Carolina is not applying fair. It's 72 different formulas, right? So,
yeah. It absolutely is. It's very, very tough to follow. All right, next we wanted to go over a little more detail, some of our changes in revenue. And again, we're starting out with our local property and automobile tax. The first column here represents current year, and this column, of course, represents next budget year, what we project and estimate the revenue to be. And then the last column just shows the changes in revenue. So starting out with the property and automobile tax, we are seeing a big increase, and this is without a millage increase of about a little over $3.3 million in revenue. Delinquent tax, about $100,000. Fee in lieu increase from about $150,000. County equalization, we expect to be about the same, no change there. In the education funding model, this is the biggest portion of the state allocation. Unfortunately, we got a little bit of a cut in the current year. However, with the state's additional money that they're given in the 25-26 year budget, that is going to be about a $436,000 increase there.
Mr. Thomas, can you explain the county equalization tax to me?
Okay, yeah, I know that's something that went on way, probably before my time, but I think it's a portion of the taxes that's, rather than split by District 1, District 2, District 3, it's a combination of the 5 districts, and it's split out evenly based on your size. I don't know the exact ins and outs. That's maybe a county question that I can maybe ask the treasurer auditors for some more detail for you to get.
Does that come from the county school board, or does that come from
That's
the
from the county, Anderson County.
Anderson County.
But they kind of handle that. I would probably have to get some more detail from them on exactly what makes that amount up. But I'll be glad to reach out and see if I can find that out for you. All right, next is our tiers 1, 2, and 3. This is state property tax. This is the part of the replacement penny here, as well as homestead and one other exemption. Current year, $12,150,000. We expect that to go up to 13.8, so an increase of 1.7 in those 3 accounts. Merchant's inventory and depreciation, about $250,000. Retiree insurance revenue, about $433,000 increase. And then just the other revenues, we expect about a $318,000 increase there. Just a reminder, in the current year, we've got use of fund balance in our budget of just under $2 million. Now again, our goal has always been so far, like I said, the revenues are coming in really strong. We're trying to, rein in our expenses the best we can. We just can't control the salaries. The utilities are going to always be there. We'll try to cut costs best we can throughout the rest of the year, but our goal is to use as little of that as possible. So we're taking that out of the budget for now and just kind of leaving this as a question mark. So this is an option should we need it. So that being said, right now we got an increase of about $4.8 million in revenue. One more slide, here's our summary. Local sources, $36.1 million. State sources, $82.2 million. And other, about $500,000. Local's about 30%, state's roughly about 70%, and that brings our revenue to $118.8. Just realized that.
You got to give the good news that we got more revenue than we got last year. It's a rookie mistake on my part. So, So there's some different, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the expenditure changes, there's a few things that you've probably already heard us talk a little bit about, but teacher salary scale, both the House and the Senate have proposed doing a $1,500 increase per each cell in the salary scale, and we've talked a little bit about that. They have increased the employer health insurance, so that's going to cost us a few $100,000 that we have to do. Every year our employees, the vast majority of our employees get a step, so that means, you know, the teachers that go from year 7 to year 8, they automatically get a little bump in salary, so that's going to cost us. And then one thing that just came on the radar a couple of weeks ago is the paid parental leave. As you know, all of our teachers and employees get 6 weeks paid parental leave when they have a child, and then the dads get 2 weeks paid parental leave. The proposed, and it looks like the momentum going towards that is that's going to go from 6 weeks paid leave to 12 weeks paid leave, and so that's a cost that we have to incur to make sure that we can fund that leave and substitute costs, and we'll get into that. So what we feel obligated to do is make sure that we are looking very closely at the district, at our salary scales for all of our employees, not just teachers, but we need to make sure that we keep our salaries competitive. There continues to be the cost of security. As you know, we've really always continued to make safety and security in our schools a top priority. Another thing that I think is important for you to know, and I know Mr. Neal and I have been in touch with Representative Sanders about this issue, and I really think Representative Sanders is trying to get us some help. I don't know if anything will be able to happen this legislative session, but I do think by next year the momentum is to try to get this looked at. But when you hear folks in Columbia talk about we're paying to have an SRO in every single school in the state of South Carolina, that's a little bit of a misleading statement. I want to reiterate, when they say we're going to pay to have an SRO in every school in the state of South Carolina, that is every school in the state of South Carolina that did not have an SRO when they came up with this legislation. So the vast majority of the schools in the Anderson County and all 5 districts, Pickens County, Oconee County, we were all proactive and went ahead and funded the SRO positions in all of our schools. So we actually spend $1.5 million on SRO salaries every year. We think it's a good investment, but again, if the state actually funded those positions like they say they do, that's $1.5 million that we could put towards teacher salaries and other things. The career centers, like everybody else, the cost of doing business is just continuing to increase for them. So they've got a 4% tuition increase that we've already accounted for our budget for next year. And then the paid parental leave, this is the substitute cost. One of the things I noticed on the itemized budget that Travis went over a little bit ago is our substitute budget line is the only one that's over 100%, and that is just because of the cost of the subs. When a teacher's out for an extended amount of time because there's paid leave, they're going to take a longer leave when they can. So that paid parental leave is just continuing to be a cost to the district, and we're happy to do that and support our teachers to let them be home with their little ones. But again, there is a cost that comes with that. So when you look at before we do anything, the expected revenue for next year's budget is $118.8 million. Before we take into account anything that extra that we need to do, after we've done our budget meetings with our principals and we've trimmed some staff and looked at different things, that's $115.1 million before we do anything with raises, before we do anything with steps, before we do anything with our health insurance, anything like that. So we've got about $3.7 million that we can play with. However, when you do the required step, that's $724,000. When you do the $1,500 raise, that's $1.4 million, and the health insurance increase is $300,000. So that's already of that $3.7 million. That's already almost $1.3 million of that extra that we have to do. Now I'm about to go through a few slides that talk about why we need to continue to look at teacher salaries and raises and employee salaries in Anderson 1.
So when the state says $1,500 increase in teacher salary, do they appropriately increase the money coming, the 70% coming from the state, or is that
Sort of, kind of.
sort of kind of? That's what I thought.
It's actually $1,500 to the minimum salary scale. So if you're at the minimum salary that the state does in each cell, then yes. But we're a little bit above that in the majority of our cells, so it actually is not fully funded raise. It's close, but it's not completely. I just feel like this is important to highlight. As you see, if I can find it, it's not showing up on there, but I just want to repeat this. When you look at how we are in terms of proficiency, Anderson 1 does really, really well. The one place where we're in the middle of the pack is when we have students per teacher. We're right there in the middle. Expenditures per student, that's how much we spend per student. We're significantly behind every other district in the county. And revenues per student, we're significantly behind everyone in the county. I think you were alluding to this earlier, if we just got the same funding as the next lowest district in the county, and by the way, when we're talking about the next lowest district in the county, you got all 72 districts. The majority of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we're easy to find. We're down there at the bottom. It's easy to find the Anderson districts. If we just got an additional $1,700 per student, that's $18 million more dollars. That would make it real. This conversation would be a lot easier when we're talking about raises, when we're talking about can we add a position here, or can we keep a position here, or how do we help our ML students. These conversations would be a lot different and a lot easier. But the fact of the matter is, we're funded at this level right here. We feel like it's important to talk about salary because and the competitive edge, but we sit here. I don't know if you understand this, and I think on the next slide we actually compare our salary with some of the folks around us. We're getting people, that veteran teachers that choose to come to Anderson 1, where they could go right next door and probably make a little bit higher salary. We have first-year teachers that get offered jobs in places all around us, and they sit and wait and wait and wait and wait until Anderson 1 has an opening because they want to be a part of this district. And we think a lot of that goes right back to the school board. This school board is supportive of teachers. They understand that we have to make some tough decisions to make sure we do what's necessary. But y'all allow Carol and Miss Brady to do what they need to do to support our staff. Even though some of our salaries might be a little bit behind, we still don't have a teacher shortage in Anderson 1. But however, we still need to make sure that we're doing what's necessary to keep our salaries competitive with the people around us. We have that strong sense of family and community, not just within our buildings, but the communities and the Palmetto area, the Wren area, and the Powdersville area all support our schools and want students to be successful. We have growth opportunities. You saw Ms. Whittemore tonight. She's been a counselor in our district. She's had the opportunity to grow. Travis has had opportunities to grow. Mr. Moore's had opportunities to grow. Dr. Wilson, we imported him. But Miss Brady's, she's had opportunities to grow within the district. I've had opportunities to grow within the district. There's so many people in Anderson 1 that have opportunities to grow because of the support we have. And we just truly believe like the tradition of excellence really sets us apart. We have the best people in Anderson 1. However, that can make up a small difference in salary, but if that gap starts growing a little bit, and we've talked about this, then it's a lot harder to keep people from looking around. So we need to do what we can to make sure we keep salaries competitive. This is just to kind of show you, and it's hard to see up here. It's probably easier to see in your packet, but you can see how we compare to the places around us. I do want to point out that while we're a little bit behind in year 1, we do catch up with people towards the end, and that's because of the investment you all made to add extra years to our salary schedule. So by the time you're at the end of your career, you are competitive with people, if not ahead of the people around us. So that's an important thing to make, but we still want to make sure that we're keeping the first few years competitive with the people around us, whether it be your bachelor's, master's, or doctorate. So here's some things to consider. If you remember, I'm going to cycle back just to make sure. We started with $3.7 million to play with between our revenue and expenses. After we did the mandatory stuff, we're at between 1.2 and 1.3 million dollars. So if we come back here, we've got some different options we're going to talk about. I do want to make sure that you all understand that through attrition, we've trimmed approximately, we're still like tweaking some things, but we're somewhere around 17 or 18 FTE teaching positions that we've trimmed from the budget. Some of our schools haven't seen the anticipated growth that we thought we would see over the last few years, so they've lost 4 or 5 FTEs. Some schools broke even, but all of our schools either lost a teaching position or broke even or lost multiple teaching positions. Now we're at the point where we're looking through like assistants. Where can we get creative with assistants? Can we trim some of those positions? Can we share positions between the schools and have people go between 2 locations, because we want to make sure that we take care of the people that we've invested in, but we also want to make sure that we're doing the best we can with the resources we have. So we've got a couple of options that we want to talk about when we talk about salaries. We're already doing a $1,500 raise, but so is everybody around us. You see where we are compared to people next door. So we know we need to probably do a little more than $1,500 so we can start catching up. And you see where we would land. So if we went to another $1,500, which would be a $3,000 raise, that would cost us $1.4 million. Or if we decided to do a $3,500 raise, which would be another $2,000 per teacher, that probably cost us approximately $1.8 million. And you see how that would impact us. Then we have all of our teachers' assistants, bus drivers, nurses, bookkeepers, all the other people, the people that really like run the school, all those folks that those of you that have worked in schools understand the value that these people have. We need to take care of them as well. And so you see some different options on what that would cost. And then you have the non-salary skill employee. That would be a lot of the district office staff, some of our administrators, and what a different type of raise would cost them as you're looking at some different options. So we're in an okay spot. Like Travis has said, we've really taken some hard looks at the fiscal year 25 that we're wrapping up, and we feel like I can't get Travis to give me the complete thumbs up that he feels like we're not going to have to use the fund balance. But I do think he's willing to say we're definitely not going to need the full $1.9 million. I think I can get him to admit that maybe, but we really feel like we're doing okay as far as, you're not even give me a nod or a wink or nothing. But the revenues for this current year are coming in a good way that makes us feel like, and we've done a really good job with expenditures during this entire school year where we haven't added things to the budget. So we feel like we are going to have some wiggle room with the fund balance that we've already allocated. But over the next few weeks, we're going to have to make some decisions together on exactly what we need to do to take care of our teachers and support them. So as you know, we also have the fund balance that we needed as we kind of decide, take into consideration what we need to do with our fund balance, and you can step in here, but we want to continue to keep that fund balance at 25%, and we want to talk through kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. We just kind of did an 8-year history. Some of y'all probably remember back even before this year where we dipped into the teens a little bit. And that's, our goal's always been kind of 20. We'd rather target that 25% or 3 months worth. Our auditors always recommend 2 to 3 months, which would be roughly 17 to 25% range. And you can see we steadily increased that and got into the 25% range, kind of even exceeded it here. And if you remember here, we were actually even building program. So this figure was actually 32, almost 33 million before we made that transfer. So we got the fund balance in a good, healthy spot. And of course, I think we go over this yearly, the reasons to maintain an adequate fund balance. We've got those listed, and certainly are very, very important. Again, feel like we're in a good spot. Dr. Young's right, I don't like to kind of guess on this, because school district accounting and trying to do the timing on it is not you can't just take a 1/12 to 1/12 to 1/12. It's a little more moving parts, because the revenue comes in at different times and the expenses go out at different times, so you can't just take a month and annualize it. So it's kind of difficult to hit that mark, so I don't want to really guess, but certainly our goal is to hopefully use very little of that, and that fund balance stay as close to the 28.5 or possibly even grow that we hopefully can get it. I'll just kind of leave it at that without putting my neck too far out on the line there.
So, in conclusion, and we've got some options as we try to balance our budget over the next few weeks and make some final decisions. We definitely need to take strong consideration with our salary increases. We're going to continue to work with Ms. Brady and her department with personnel cuts through attrition, operational cuts. With Travis pointed out that we really trimmed a lot of our operational cuts to the bare bones over the last several years. But a couple of things that we've taken a hard look at would be like after-school tutoring. We've provided buses on multiple days during the week over the last several years. But there's usually less than 5 or 6 kids on those afternoon buses. So that's a way that we can make some decisions. Maybe we just provide a bus 1 day a week for after school, and that can save us $40,000–$50,000 by not having to run buses as much for the after school programs. We're going to continue to maximize self-funded revenue. We've really worked with the state and some of our different programs that can bill Medicaid to make sure that we are taking advantage of that. There's also grants that we can apply for. I think I've shared with you a couple different schools this year. We've gotten some fine arts grants to get different equipment and opportunities for our students, and so making sure that we're doing any kind of self-funded revenue we can. But if we need to balance the budget, we can use the fund balance. And then our last option, obviously, would be millage increase. I think those of you that were at the county board presentation last year knew that we really wanted to try to avoid doing this, but as Travis pointed out at the beginning of the presentation, that's quite a chunk of change that you're leaving on the table. So that's just something that we can navigate as we need to. But those are some of the different options that we have before us. It was a fun day on the slide, though. So yeah, lots of that. But you can go to Williamson Mineral Springs Park and even I fit down the slide, so y'all can go down the slide too. What questions do y'all have? And if there's questions that we need to talk about individually, we can definitely do that too. Welcome to your first board meeting.
When are you gonna make the decision on salary ranges?
And I definitely
have a range of 3%, 4%, 5% or something like that.
So we actually have a meeting on the books towards the end of this week that we feel like by the end of this week we'll have a better grasp on a couple of different salary movements. There's some potentially save us another couple $100,000. For instance, Ms. Whittemore that was here today, that's a position. She's currently in an MTSS coordinator position at Spearman Elementary School. I think Mr. Leslie's going to look at how he can effectively utilize staff at Spearman to fill that role. So that might be a potential savings to the budget to do some things. And we've got some other things that are happening within the district that people are going to shift around that we can look at. So we're still kind of really trying to nail down. We just got the Senate numbers towards the end of the week before last. So that's one of our goals is this Friday to really be able to have some different specific numbers to see what that's going to look like.
You don't have any idea what, I saw what you had for other districts, what other school districts are going to do for this year.
Thursday, we have a superintendent's roundtable. One of the things that the 5 Anderson County superintendents are planning to meet afterwards, to really make sure they're not pointed out to them that they need to understand that we are probably going to be a little above whatever they do because they're trying to play catch up.
That's true.
They're trying to be good neighbors.
Well, it's not a science, it's an art to try to understand what the gap is between us and other districts and how much our culture buys us.
Yep.
So there is elasticity there.
Yes.
That you can supersede.
Yep.
You start losing candidates.
Yep. And obviously, as we start nailing things down, I will share that information with you all and kind of just give you an idea of what we're looking like. I know in years past, we have not done the budget workshop, but we can definitely talk towards the end of this week. And if we feel like we need to get together and do the budget workshop, I think it's tentatively on that budget calendar we gave them. Was it May 14th? Maybe something. But we can definitely, have a conversation about what the different options would be. But again, we're trying to trim. We want to avoid asking for a millage increase if at all possible. And I think if we need to, we have some of that 1.9 million fund balance that was already allocated that we could probably utilize moving forward if we needed to.
Well, I understand.
May 13th is that day.
May 13th. Yeah, I know.
The expenses may look great one month,
Yeah.
but next month, it's just things, like he says, they come in at different times and.
That's exactly right. Well, if y'all have any individual questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank y'all for the hard work. Travis,
Yes.
good job.
Okay, you ready for the instructional?
Yep, we're gonna set it up and hand Mr. Moore the clicker. Mr. Hayden, when Mr. Neal had his first board meeting, we got the board appreciation. We didn't get to have all this fun at his first board meeting.
Crash course education. I don't know how I feel about following that. Talk about math textbooks, so you really picked a doozy. Sorry about that. I will tell you it's a big month, clearly for a lot of reasons. Graduation on the horizon, but also we have state testing that begins this week, so we have SC Ready for elementary and middle schools, as well as end of course testing for high school. So it's a big couple weeks for Anderson One, and we're looking forward to that. I have a couple of items for business for us today, and the first part of our social report is our textbook adoption process. The state has funded math textbooks. You know, we talked about earlier this year that we have new math standards on the horizon. We've worked through those this year. They will be implemented fully next year. And so they have funded textbooks for us. And there's a process that goes into our selection of these, what they call high-quality instructional materials. So I just wanted to walk the board through that. The first thing I want to remind everyone is we focus on teaching the standards. We want our students to master the state standards. So when we look at any instructional material, we consider that as a support to teaching the standards. And that's kind of the lens that we view this from. We don't believe that we need to go in and teach the textbook from cover to cover. We teach our students the standards. And so through that lens, when we adopt a textbook, we do this. The first thing you need to know is the state approves a condensed list. So there are many, many publishers out there that vie and have competition to be included on the finalized list for the state. Well, the state goes through their own selection process, and they give us a more condensed version of publishers that we can consider. When we have those narrowed down, we have representatives from every school that attend what they call the textbook caravan. Textbook caravan goes around the state, and each publisher gets basically the equivalent of about an hour to share with us their product. What does your textbook include, and how might that best serve the needs of your students in your district?
So we are very proud of the fact that we take that seriously. Again, all of our schools were represented, district office staff attended. We also ask our school level teams to take those materials back. We get materials from each of these publishers and walk through these materials carefully. And I'll show you in a minute, we actually gave schools a rubric that we created for them to closely consider these math textbooks that were approved by the state. And then eventually, we have a vote, good old-fashioned vote. Don't know another way to call it, that's just what it is. And we take the majority rules, and if there is a tie in the district office and the instructional team, we break that tie. Usually there's not a tie because there's a lot of cohesiveness in the district because we've gone through this process together. So this is a screenshot of the rubric that we used. And it really created some great dialogue and conversations at each school and as a district about the math textbooks that we ultimately would recommend for adoption. And I will say, again, I'm very proud of our schools. Our folks took this very seriously, did a great job digging in and asking the right questions, in my opinion, and ultimately to determine the correct textbook that would fit our needs. And again, we teach the standards. Based on your approval, a couple of things that I just wanted to mention. The first thing is our textbook coordinators, usually our assistant principals, they will submit orders, and those orders will start to arrive at schools over the summer for use next year. We will certainly be able to unpack. Sometimes they need to be barcoded, and then we will provide support through professional development. We get teachers together every year anyway and walk through these materials carefully to make sure we're using them wisely. And then we like to reflect. And so let me just say this. My opinion is this, and I think most people agree, there's no perfect textbook. So our educators who master the standards, they are the experts. So they may choose to pull from a textbook and a material. They may choose to pull from another material and not necessarily, again, just teach cover to cover. And that's just good teaching. So here are the list of selections. And again, a lot of cohesiveness and consistency throughout. I'll let you peruse those, and you have those in your packet as well. You can see, obviously, this runs from elementary all the way up to our high school math courses. I will be glad to take any questions about the process.
It's not about the process.
Oh, any questions? What's that?
Explain discrete.
I'm going to let someone who has a high school background explain discrete before I make a complete fool of myself.
No, so discrete math is for a student that is not taking one of your AP or dual credit classes. It's more of a concrete basic skills class to help transition into like a tri-county type math class. It's a state approved course when they redid the standards. Next year will be the first year we do the new math standards, so we actually probably won't be offering discrete math for 2 years, but we went ahead. We're going to go ahead and while the state's paying for textbooks, we're going to go ahead and get textbooks.
This process occurs every year?
Only when there is a new textbook that the state funds. So since they're new math standards, they are choosing to fund K through 12 math textbooks. Sometimes, based on the budget, they've not even funded K through 12. Sometimes they'll say, hey, we'll fund high school or elementary. So as Dr. Young indicated, when they do fund it and they pay for it, we're going to jump on it and order what we can to support our schools.
The standards been made more robust, or broader, or
comprehensive, or whatever. I would say they narrowed.
Okay.
And I would also say that in math specifically, they moved a good bit of content around. And so for us, what that means is it is different. So as you know, we've talked a lot about getting our teachers together this year to determine what we call our essential standards. So there still are a lot of standards, even though they've narrowed, there's still many, many standards in the content areas, ELA and math specifically. If there are no other questions, I'll be glad to answer. We do need the board to approve these, so I'll ask the board for consideration to approve these math textbooks for adoption.
You've heard Mr. Moore's recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve the math textbooks adoption that he's recommended?
I'm sure Dr. Young's looked through all these, haven't you?
Absolutely. I've had them all.
That's my question. So these are math.
Yes.
The word problems. Are the word problems looked through before they give them to the children?
Yes, when they go through the process of adoption, they will go through as they get. They don't get every single textbook or material, but they have sample materials. Now, when they plan lessons and they pull from these math textbooks, the expectation is always that they preview the materials.
And the state board and the folks in Columbia have gone through very carefully to make sure. And actually, I think the state caravan was delayed a little bit because there was one publisher that had to do some updates to meet the state board's expectations based on what they're asking.
Yes.
So you making a motion?
I do so.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Neal, do I have a second? Second. Ms. Dawson, any further discussion? We're ready to vote. All those in favor, could you show it by the uplifted hand? And that is unanimous.
Thank you very much. One more.
I know it's not an easy job.
Yes. I am again proud of our schools and our teachers that work through the process. They do a great job. We do have, in one quick item of business, we have local board approved LBA courses. These are elective courses. They are listed in your packet. In your packet, you will see current courses that we would like to continue for next year, as well as some additions for 25-26. That also requires board approval.
And that's fine, we'll do that, but I have a question.
Yes.
And I guess I should have waited until discussion, but what are you gonna do as far as the middle school fine arts and what's the additions?
I don't know if I have an answer for that. Hold on one moment, Ms. Upton. And I'll be totally honest with you, if I can find it.
You mean like what is that course?
What extra are they gonna do? That's what I'm asking, because it said it was additions for middle school.
Some of this is Ms. Hayes has been working with the middle schools to make sure that all the courses that we are already offering are actually on the state approved list.
Okay.
So we're doing a little bit of cleanup with transcripts and things like
Well, I
that.
understand that, I just didn't know.
And that is specifically for your question, that's what this is.
Okay.
So sorry.
I just didn't know.
Yes.
Okay. And they're getting credit, for the yearbook.
Yes, it's an elective. Yes, ma'am.
I hate to go backwards, but this discrete math, is there a math that's like business math at the top?
Discrete math has a lot of that business math in it, and so does the statistics and models.
Statistics, yes.
We had a course at Furman, math for non-math majors. It was business math, and everybody loved it because it was so practical. Yeah, unless you're going into engineering or certain sciences, business math is certainly more applicable.
And that's where some of those new courses came from, is we realized that we had 11th and 12th graders that were not going to a four-year school, that were being forced to take like Algebra 2 and pre-cal, and we kind of had to drop back and punt, working with the state, working with Commission of Higher Ed that has a lot of input on different standards, to make sure we had some approved math courses for that group of students that were not going to be math majors.
The old Math Tech 1, Math Tech 2 that was around for years that we used to have that kind of did that. This is a little bit more involved.
Okay, I need a motion to approve local board courses.
So moved.
Mr. Wilson, do I have a second? Mr. Neal, any other discussion? Ready to vote? All those in favor, show it by the uplifted hand, and that is unanimous. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Upton.
All right, next is our student nutrition report.
I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Brady. Then you got to go to the next slide. Yeah, there we go.
Well, after the budget and the textbooks, I think I have the most exciting report tonight. I told y'all my goal is to infuse some excitement into our student nutrition program. And I have great news. The South Carolina Department of Ed, Office of Health and Nutrition, officially rolled out the start of their Tray of the Week competition. This allows cafeteria managers and directors from any district in South Carolina the opportunity to photograph and submit their entry on a weekly basis. 2 weeks in a row, guys, Little Concrete Primary has had the winning entry in the whole entire state. Last week was orange chicken, and this week was rotini pasta roll. And I think if I can figure this out.
Here you go, Ms. Brady.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Yes, ma'am.
There are the Tray of the Weeks Concrete Primary state winners. So we are very proud of you.
Not that it matters, it's important to know that before our folks started submitting their trade, we easily high school won, so it's always good to be easy.
But no, we're very proud of Ms. Trina Miller and her staff. But I just wanted to share that with you. Our Nutrition and Services Department takes such pride in making sure kids get great meals every day. So thank y'all for your support as well. And then the other information you certainly can read. Dr. Young?
Thank you, Ms. Brady.
Next is the building program update, and I sent you all some pictures of some of the work being done as concrete last week. We continue, every time you go by concrete, something is different there if you haven't had a chance to go by, but they are moving quickly at concrete. We're working with the Scott Powell and Glenn Harvey and their team to kind of rebrand a little bit, get away from the concrete primary school, concrete elementary, so working with their team to do that. Today we had a meeting with Andy Finley and Chris Leslie, making sure that we can hit the ground running when school gets out of Powersville Elementary School. Next time we meet, we'll be out of school and they will already be making ground on some of the classrooms at Powdersville Elementary to make sure the bathrooms are functional as we head into next school year. And then we continue to see great progress at Oak Hill.
I know every morning I can see.
It's awesome. Now the bricks, the brick going to the outside of it, it looks amazing. And then last thing I wanted to just remind you all, the county board approved our 8% general obligation bonds last week. So Travis and I were in touch with Franny and Mike Gallagher, and we should have all that money at our use this summer for any additional projects that we need. But the building program is going well. This summer, we'll need to start having some conversations about getting a plan in place to address the overcrowding at Spearman and Wren. I think at least one of them gets in that car line at Spearman a few days a week could give us some highlights.
You would think, and I wait on the days that I have to pick up. They're supposed to be out 2:15. I wait till a little after 2:30 and go, and then I'm still back at Spearman Road back home.
I think Mr. Leslie told us the other day he's got 823 kids in that building, so he's.
And that's with 2 lines
Yep,
now.
yep. So that'll be our next plan to talk through this summer. But that's our building program update today.
And thank you so much for the parking spaces that you updated at Wren High.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Turn over to Dr. Wilson for the administration update.
Thank you, sir. Just to remind everybody, graduation is Thursday, May 15th. Heather will be making sure you have your passes. We park like we always have in the Avenue of Champions. I think in your former life you knew a lot about the Avenue of Champions and all up there. So, and we'll make sure you know that that's the road right there at Little John, the closest road you can get in. But we'll make sure you have it back.
I got one pass that came months ago. It's got all the schools.
That's what that. Yeah, if you've already got
I'm getting ones that have individuals. So.
You can put it up there if it's got all 3. That's fine. So. Just to remind, 9 o'clock Powdersville, Palmetto's at noon, and then Wren will be ending up, and there might be some choking up a little bit with the Wren one, but the second year in a row, we've got to go through that here in the last couple of years. So just a reminder, I know y'all knew that, but just to make sure. The other thing that I had originally have listed 9 policies that I'm going to go over. I've been requested that the third one down, which is ILBB status program assessment, that we pull that and do a little bit more evaluation of that one. So I'm going to request that one be pulled, and I will bring that back next month for approval. I will run through the others real quick. There have been a few minor changes from the first time I shared these with you. I will go through those. The first one, ILB, Test and Assessment Administration, no change to that policy whatsoever. Just an update for us. The AR, the administrative rule of ILB, Test and Administration, you can see these are the same changes that we had, updates that we had at the last board meeting. The next one, ILBB, State Program Assessment, that is the policy I would like to pull for consideration for tonight, and I will bring that back. Yes, ma'am.
What is the issue?
I think just the readiness assessment. This is the one that comes straight from the state, and I want to make sure Ms. Burgess wanted to talk with us about the reading screening. You know, that's her office when she was at the State Department, was that early screening. She just wanted to make sure that the state had gotten it right in their model policy. So that's that reading screener. So I'm actually going to be in Columbia and a meeting with her, and we'll go through that. So if there is anything that we need to change, I'll send it to you and make sure y'all know that. So that's what that was. We are going to go ahead and approve the administrative rule with that policy. It only had one small change of a time, so that will be policy JDAC, comprehensive health. Thank goodness we have a medical professional on the board. You'll just see just some wording change in that first sentence, basically changing just some terminology there. So that was the only change. It did not change the essence of that. Weapons policy, JICI, weapons in school. That is the same update that was shared with you in the last meeting. Again, some minor changes to JLCDA, individual healthcare plan. If you look down at under student self-administration of medication, we added the student a sentence in blue. Student will possess only the appropriate amount of medication needed in a given day, and the medication must be properly labeled, which I think is a great addition to the state. Probably should have added that because you don't want a kid bringing their whole bottle every day to school. So again, thanks to Dr. Neal with that one. That helped us out. The administrative rule for the JLCDAR, individual healthcare plan. Again, if you'll go on the second page, the first red, which we added on the second page of the administrative rule, and basically just setting a specific day. It didn't really give a time limit of when the IHP should be finished, and it just basically gave us 10 days to make sure that was finished and in place, which is a great idea, so we don't have any schools that just drag on with that. So I thought that was certainly appropriate for that one. And then JLCDB, life-saving medications, same, no changes from what was shared with you. So those are the 8 policies I would like to ask the board for final reading, and we'll get these approved in our policy manual.
Okay, you've heard Dr. Wilson's recommendation, with the exception of, did you say ILBB? That's
Yes,
the one
ma'am.
we're holding up on. I need a motion to approve the ILB, AR-ILB-R, AR-ILBB-R, JBAC, JICI, JLCDA, AR-JLCDA-R, and the last one, JLCDB. Do I have a motion?
I do so much.
Dr. Dillon, do I have a second? Ms. Ellison, any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor, if you show up by the uplifted hand. Okay,
Thank y'all very much.
thank you. All right, Dr. Young.
For the safety update, I think we told you last time that we had gotten some more money from our dual settlement, and we were able to purchase some more open gate detection equipment for the school. So now instead of having to rotate around the different district week by week, we have them on site at the different high schools, and the administrative team has a couple of sets that they can use as they see fit on a rotating basis within their building. So there's always something on site that the admin team can use, and we continue to look at plans for how that will look next fall. The other thing that we have distributed to our ADs and principals at the middle and high school, I think it was in your packet. If it's not, I'll send it to you. Is a proposed clear bag policy that we can share with that. We don't have to do a board policy on that. We can just implement that. But I wanted you to see what we were going to share out beginning anything after July 1st. We'll start enforcing that. I think the vast majority of our parents are used to that from going to other places. Mr. Hayden can vouch for it's been implemented in places around us, and so you've seen how it can be done. So our ADs are on board; they've already got a plan in place, and I think they're going to start communicating with parents once we wrap up this school year, so it doesn't confuse anybody with what's in place now. But then next fall we'll have to clear back policy. I know they're already ordering clear bags with Mustangs and Patriots and Hurricanes on them, so try to turn it into a fundraising opportunity.
Okay, that's good. Now you will move to the next one.
Yep. Last time we met, we talked briefly about the district office org chart and how kind of wanted a little different setup so you could see who reported to who and how things would look. So included in your packet, you have district office org chart where you can see how everybody fits together. So just ask you to review that. And,
You've heard superintendent's recommendation to approve the district organizational chart. Do I have a motion?
Just to be clear, there's no new positions or anything like that on here.
There's one question on with the span of control here as far as the org chart. When it says principals, is it divided up as to, or how are the principals divided up under this?
The principals report to all of us. Really, their main point of contact is probably Dr. Wilson, as far as on a day-to-day basis. If they're going to be out or anything like that, they report to Dr. Wilson, but the principals report to all of us, and then we all have different ones that we evaluate for their cadet evaluation, but we just want to make sure that it was clear that that's why that's underneath all of them.
So you gonna make that motion?
I'll make motions.
Okay, Mr. Hayden made our motion. Do I have a second? Second. Ms. Lawson, any other discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor, if you show up, buddy, up, lift your hand. Okay, next item, beyond personnel.
Turn it over to Ms. Brady, that you saw our new personnel recommendations.
Yes, I would like to recommend Ms. Liz Whittemore to be our AP at Spearman Elementary. We also have 11 recommendations, many that you met this evening. We have 6 retirements, 21 resignations, and I would also ask the board to please approve the attached list of our certified staff contracts, which we will be excited to send out tomorrow for your approval.
Thank you.
Later.
All right.
Okay, that's a great question. Later, if they are at will, we do not send their contract until later. So that's more of just an administrative note for Ms. Gambrell not to send their contract now, just wait till later.
Okay.
And that's kind of our protocol, Dr. Neal, for our at-will employees.
Thank you. What about the annual summative where it says here? What is that?
Okay, that's a great question too. The state divides contract or teaching certification into 2 sections. Initial, which is what many of these this evening that are just coming out of higher ed programs, they will begin with initial certification. That's in a year of induction, which Ms. Brooks, you see what she does with them in their induction program. Their second year, if they follow what you hope is the expected trajectory, the second year is an annual summative year, which is a formal evaluation year. Most of them, after that formal evaluation year, complete it successfully and roll to the next certification, which is professional. Once they earn professional certification, they're evaluated formatively about every 5 years.
I need a motion to approve the personnel agenda. Do I have one? Mr. Wilson, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Hayden, we're ready to vote. All those in favor, if you show up by the up with your hand. That is unanimous. And And our next item, is to adjourn. Do I have a motion? Ms. Ellison, do I have a second? Second. Ms. Hood, all in favor, please stand and thank y'all.
There's something before everybody leaves. With all the crowd at the beginning, when we were doing all the recognitions and stuff, I got overwhelmed by all the teachers in the room with everything. But I just want to thank Greg's family. If you want to introduce who hung through the fun. And then I think we were going to try to get a picture if that's okay with your family.
Okay. Sure. So I have my wife Joellen, and then my parents is Billy and Margaret Tate.
We're glad to have y'all. Welcome to come back anytime.
I don't think any of their families